Well, the universe conspired at age 49 and a half to throw three major curveballs into my life. I got divorced, I got sober from alcoholism, and I became an empty nester, all in 1 year. So when I turned 50, people started asking me, so what are you gonna do for your 50th birthday? At that point, I wanted to crawl in a hole and hide, but I was unwilling to do that. I knew I had to keep moving forward, whatever forward meant for me. And so a friend suggested, well, why don't you try new things, like maybe 50 new things? As a lifelong dilettante, that held appeal for me. So I embarked on this journey of trying 50 new things. I was living alone for the first time in my life. When you are newly sober, you're supposed to avoid people, places, and things that are triggering to you. So I had to essentially change my entire social group, where I lived, places I went, and I started keeping an organic list of new things I wanted to try, deleting things, adding things, and then people would continue to ask me, what are you doing for your 50th? Because my 40th was very loud and big, and it was
alcohol was served.
Yes, I think I fell down flat on my face during that party. But it was an all about Maria party where I had costume changes, trivia games about me. It was really over the top. So people were asking me, what are you doing? And I said, I'm trying 50 new things in my 50th year. People wanted the list, and they wanted to know more about my journey. So I thought, light bulb moment, this could help other people. There are a lot of people who had curveballs in their lives. I didn't meet anyone who had all those three in 1 year. But people at age 50 are frequently at a reckoning point in their lives. So I started shopping the book to agents and got an agent and a publisher, and the book was born. But the best thing about my journey, number one, is it was cathartic to write it all out.
Wait, that's my next question.
Okay.
But before that question, you actually touched on something that I want to point out. Maria, your journey didn't necessarily start because of age, it started because of events. However, you just mentioned people at 50 and reckoning.
Right.
So let's talk about what's different about one's 50s, even without all of those big, terrible things happening. And some of those things, you know, made good later, but what's different about the 50s as a decade?
Yeah. Well, the half-century mark, just by virtue of being half-century, is a time where people tend to take stock in their lives. Most people by age 50 are pretty well on their way within a career choice. Most of us, because of our society, have children, if we had children, who are fairly launched by the time we're 50. And most of us, well, I shouldn't say most of us, but many of us are more secure in who we are and have more financial stability. And I view 50 as the 50s as the sweet spot before true physical decline occurs.
That's interesting.
My mother had a hip replacement at 70, and every day I wake up and I'm thankful that I can still walk. I can still hear. She has a hearing aid now too. I can still see. All of these things, before our parents were in the sandwich period when our parents are starting to need more assistance, but our kids are more independent. So it's this sweet spot where I believe most of us have the ability to reframe our lives in many different ways in our 50s. I mean, it doesn't have to be at 50, but 50 is such a